Hi, welcome to my YouTube channel, which is very, very new for me. So if it seems a little bumpy, I'm sure it does, and that's okay. And I decided when I got into this that it's going to be progress over perfection, and the whole goal is to be informational and helpful. So rather than make it super sparkly and pretty, that's what I'm going to do. Maybe I'll get to the sparkly pretty part, we'll see. Okay, so we're here to talk about AI, and I taught this class in person, had a great response, but not everybody could be there. So I'm going to try to deliver as much of the information as I can, as succinctly as possible, into short modules so you can just do one at a time and only listen to what interests you. So there's mini modules in case it's a topic you're already familiar with, or if you've taken one of my other classes, that you may just want to listen to that. And then if it really interests you, you might want to take the longer one. So this is module 1, which is really the intro, but this is the full version. So first of all, don't panic if AI feels like something everybody else gets and you don't. That's okay. That's not true. And you're not behind because it's constantly changing. So the whole point of this series is it's for people to explore and figure out how this whole thing works in case it's something that they really do want to start using, or they want to at least see if it's something that could be helpful to them. So I know if you do all of these modules, you'll definitely have a better understanding, and it should make sense. So we're going to cover what's AI, the perfect prompt formula, because that's the most important thing. Prompting is like, instead of asking a question, you're kind of giving it a recipe for the type of results that you want. We'll also use AI to communicate better. So maybe if you've already created something, but you feel like it's not really getting the message across, so emails, newsletters, a handwritten note even. So we're going to dig into all that. There are certain things that you definitely don't want to do. Also, we're going to talk about how you can become more efficient. It's a great learning tool. So if it can create tutorials for you, or if you just want a brief summary about a current event that maybe you didn't watch the news today and you're walking into a cocktail party, but you want to know what's going on, that's a great way to do it too, to use it. So you don't have to be technical. And honestly, in some ways, I think the more creative you are, the better results that you'll get, which is kind of what I enjoy about it. Also, I use it a lot for brainstorming ideas. So very simply, AI is software that recognizes patterns, processes language, it generates responses. So if you're ever texting somebody or typing into your phone and you're like, I'm on the way, I'll see you in about 5, and then it populates the word minutes, that's like the predicting part. So it's basically using patterns, but it's pulling from huge amounts of language and information to predict the kind of response that would be most likely helpful to you. So basically AI is pattern prediction plus conversation. So especially when I'm talking about conversational models like ChatGPT, which is the one I tend to use the most because that's the one I started with, and I've invested a lot of time and energy into kind of learning it. So very similar to that is the Google product Gemini, Claude, and Copilot, which is a Microsoft product. So if you haven't committed to any of them, you might want to try those 4, and there might be one that clicks with you. Okay, so what does predicting mean anyway? When people say that it predicts, they don't mean it's like predicting the future or there's anything magical about it at all. It means that it's predicting the answer that's likely to come next, or the word or the phrase or the idea. So a simple example, like I shared earlier, is like when you're text messaging with your phone, or when you're shopping online and because you bought something from this store 6 months ago, it knows your style and it's predicting that you might be interested in this. So Amazon, of course, does that. If you've ever shopped on Amazon or Netflix or Spotify, like here's a movie you might like, or here's a playlist that you might enjoy. So the one thing, beyond just something as simple as that, it's much more advanced, and it doesn't just predict one word or one, movie. It takes the input and the clues from your prompt, and it predicts what you need. So it's pulling that information from all over the place. So before we go into that even further, predicting is, again, pulling information from everywhere. Well, for some strange reason, it wants to please you, and it knows that its job is to provide these responses. So sometimes it'll make things up to try to fulfill that goal. And so a hallucination, you may have heard of this, when AI gives an answer, seems really real, on point, polished, and specific, but it's completely made up, or it's inaccurate, or it's completely out of date. And it may even invent facts or sources or names or dates, whatever. So you have to be careful of that. So at the end of the day, if accuracy matters, you need to verify it. And if privacy is important to you, then you should not be pasting in information like a full document with somebody's name, or worse than that, name, birth date, and social security number, that type of thing. So you want to just be very careful about that. I mean, honestly, there's rarely a time, even if you use it every day, that you're going to want to upload some document that has personal information. So you can always redact the information and still get the kind of response you're looking for. It's great at explaining confusing topics, simplifying information. I love it for brainstorming. I typically don't ask it to write something for me. I'll ask it to write it in a different way, or analyze it and give me some feedback. I'll also use it just for like an editor, going back and checking to make sure my grammar is fine, spelling looks good, I use the right text, that type of thing. Organizing notes is amazing. I love it for that. So sometimes I'll have some notes on my phone, some notes I scratched on a piece of paper. I might even have like a handout from a class, and I'll just snap pictures, upload it all, and then ask it to kind of summarize the whole thing. It does a beautiful job with that. I love it for creating checklists. There's all kinds of uses for it. So we're going to explore all of those. One thing to understand is that there's all different kinds of AI, but usually especially if you're newer to this, and you're hearing about ChatGPT is a conversational tool, so you can talk to it like in a normal language. You can ask it a question, you can give it instructions, add details, and you can keep the conversation going back and forth, which is what separates these platforms from something like a quote Google search. So a Google search is more like, tell me how to, or I want to learn about, or whatever. And then it gives you a series of websites that you can check, but you aren't getting the very specific information, because maybe really what you want to know is just a minute detail, right? Or something very specific. So I know that we'll talk more about this. I know that there's like an AI version when you Google too, and that's definitely different and kind of newer. But think of AI like the conversational platforms versus like just doing a web search, as maybe you walk into the store and you say, can you show me where I can find trash bags? Or can you tell me what aisle the trash bags are on? And they'll give you, like, let's say you're in Target or Walmart, and they'll tell you what aisle it's on, right? And then you're there and you're like, well, do I want kitchen, the wastebasket? Do I need lawn bags? Do I want this? And you're looking and you're, on this huge aisle, and it's not just trash bags. There are other things on the aisle. That's very different than going into a store and saying, hey, I need a 10-gallon trash bag, the one with the flaps, and I want no scent at all. Can you just hand it to me? So to me, that's sort of a good parallel where you're given exactly what you want. You already know what you want, instead of sending you to the aisle for you to like roam up and down until you find the specific thing. Let's see. Okay, so there are several conversational platforms that you may want to look into. I would suggest just if you're snooping around or trying to learn a little bit, look at ChatGPT, look at Claude, look at Gemini, which is a Google product, and consider Copilot, which is Microsoft. Those are all very similar. So all the things that I'm teaching you in this series, you could use any of those to do some of the prompts and things. So module 2 that we're going to dig into is kind of doing some simple prompting. So I hope to see you back here. And if there's any questions or anything that you want me to spend time on, I can always do another module or a whole nother class. I would love your feedback. So feel free to leave a comment, and I hope to see you in the second module. All right, have a great one. Bye.